All right, everybody. Episode 29 of the Jocks and Jills podcast, presented by our friends at CCM. It's Julia and Tessa with you. Happy August. I hope your air is salty and your door is rusty. I don't know if Tessa will get that reference, but I don't drop enough like Taylor Swift lines on this podcast in August. I'm an August girly. It's one of my favorite Taylor songs, so had to slide that in, obviously. How's it going, Tess?
Not a damn clue what she said. It's like I sent Cassie this Instagram. I don't even want to call it a meme. I don't know what it is. It's like a reel where a dad and a daughter are sitting down, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna say like you're too cool," and then she'll drop whatever the word is that the kids say nowadays for it, and like,
Yeah.
I'm like, none of that sounds like what it is. Kind of like glizzy. Like when you guys were like, "How do you not know that a hot dog was a glizzy?" It's like, well, it doesn't start with the same letter. They don't even sound the same, and I don't even know how the heck those two would come to be. It's like when if somebody's last name Smith, usually their nickname's
Yeah.
Smitty. But if there's something funny that happens in their life and their nickname is Cheeks, well, you're kind of like, how the hell does that work? There's a story. Glizzy, no idea. Skibbity, I have no idea.
Okay,
Cassie
but
was
that's
like,
beyond me too. Like I saw a TikTok the other day of some kids who are camp counselors, like, you know, the job you have when you're 17, 18,
yeah,
19,
everyone did.
in your early 20s. The best job, honestly. I miss that job in the summers sometimes
Yeah.
because as much as you were at work, you got to have your own like summer outdoor experience at the same time and make money. But anyways, these camp counselors were on TikTok saying things that their campers had said to them over the past week. And
Yes.
Tessa, it was so beyond me. I'm like, I have to stop making fun of Tessa because I'm hearing the footsteps recently. I don't
See?
know the lingo.
It's happening
Yeah.
fast, and it
It's
happens
happening
quick.
quickly.
Man.
Yeah, it is.
I will say this, though. Up in Northern Ontario, I don't know if it rubs off as much because I just had my hockey school, hence my voice. And that's not like from yelling at the kids, that's just from having so much fun with them. And like, I didn't hear any of that kind of stuff. I didn't see any TikTok dancing on the ice. So us
Really?
Northern Ontario ladies just
Wow.
hold it down.
I love it.
The
I love
real
it.
deal. None of this weird jargon that no one knows is going on. But
Okay, we can't. Our Northern Ontario jargon is definitely a little bit inexplicable as well. But that's
there
a
is
different
some.
story.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
some. But yeah, it was wicked camp for what it's worth. I do it. This is my second year doing it. Last year was my first inaugural year. It was awesome. It was a ton of fun. It was hectic. It was crazy. Everyone had a blast. Last year, who came up? It was Rattray Ambrose, Rebecca Johnson, and Haley Wickenheiser actually drove up and back for a day for me, did me a huge solid there. And then this year, Rattray came back. She had messaged me. She's like, I'm coming back again. I was like, if you want to, man. So the kids were stoked to see her again. We also had Haley Skimura come for all 4 days. Her fiance, Nick Stoop, ran my off-ice stuff. And then I had Johnny again, obviously, because she's from Sudbury, Rebecca Johnson, and Corey Chevry.
Nice.
And it was wicked, man. It was so much fun. We had a blast. Obviously, all of us just hanging out and whatnot. But the kids, like, they're so, they come in like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I tell them from the beginning, all right, every day we're going to do hard things, and it's going to be really hard. And like, I don't expect you to do them. All I expect is for you to try. That's all I want, is just for you to try and to walk away from here having made a new friend. That's it. And so I was like throwing stuff out there that I was like, yeah, this is going to be like, I wanted to frustrate them a little bit. You know what I mean? Just push them and
Yeah.
put it in front of them so that they would go home and maybe work on it or keep trying it.
Because this is like your super elite camp, right?
This is my elite group. Yeah. Even my general group, I was doing it.
You
This
wanted
one
to push
group,
hard.
I made them do single leg sculling, and the first one they were almost crying. And then the next time they like got a little better. And then I was like, all right, we're going to go get a drink. They're like, no, keep going. Let us keep doing it. And I was like, yeah, all right, here we go. Anyways, the stuff these ladies were doing, like, it's kind of cool actually too, because I have friends that I played hockey with, and their daughters are in my camp right now in the elite group. And like Christy McKenzie, like legend in the game, her brother Derek, assistant coach with Nashville, played in the end for a long time. And her daughter, it's like I'm looking at Christy playing the exact same stride, the handles the puck the exact same, like it's crazy. And then another girl I played with, Becky Paul, her daughter Ella, actually, I'm gonna post something on my Instagram. Ella she made this move and scored this goal. I think when she was like 12. So it was from last season. She's 13 now. But I thought she was 15 when she was at my camp, like taller than me.
Really? We got to toss
Hands,
up in the Jocks and Jills account.
hands that are just filthy. Okay. Ella Sabrin. Remember this name. She will be big. Like, it's wild. To the point where we had a scrimmage the last day, and Jamie Lee Rattray, just the way she initiated contact, like Ella initiated contact, the way she was cutting in on ice, the move she was pulling, Rattray was like, she plays boys hockey, eh? Because like she'd go in the corner and counter hit and then get the puck. And it's like, that usually you wouldn't have to do that in women's hockey at her age. So I was like, no, man, she just plays girls hockey and is a stud. Like, her brain just works hockey and it's wicked. Anyways, we're going to post this goal. You're going to fall out of your chair. So Ella Sabrin, everybody remember it because she's coming in hot. She's only 13. It was wild. I was like, oh, yeah, how old is she now? 15? She's like, no, she just turned 13. I was like, what? How was I getting her to do that stuff? Even like game-like situations where I was getting them to like speed up the game and then slow it down and then speed it up again. Like at 13, I mean, I guess you should kind of get that, but not at the level I was making them do it.
Yeah.
At least for her. And she was nailing it. And I was like, cool, let's keep going. So the more they would grasp, the more I would push. And it was just like the coolest, most wicked thing to experience. Because like I said, I grew up playing with their parents and all their parents were studs, but nice to see the kids come through with the same kind of DNA and get home and, be in Sudbury. Oh, that was the other thing. So obviously we're in Sudbury and, I'm on Shoresy and whatnot. And I always have the Shoresy jerseys up in the back. And so I was given Scams and Nick, her fiance, a Shoresy tour around the town where places were shot. Brought them to the Sudbury Arena. We got to put the wolf all the way out to the middle of the rink.
No!
Yeah.
Is it a button? Is it a lever? What is it? Is it a rope?
It's a button now. It used to be a guy that like put it out on a clothesline. Yeah. Now it's like automated button.
Damn.
I know. We
did
it.
Tech
We were
now.
Stoked. Anyways, and so I had messaged Jared Keeso and I was like, hey pal, like here's the places that I'm bringing them. Is there any other spot you can think of? I'm drawing a blank, just trying to spend an afternoon with them and show them around. And he was like, well, never mind the tour. Do they want to meet the real Shoresy? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that would be nuts. He's like, well, what are you even doing in town? Like, we don't film till next week. And I'm like, oh, I have got a hockey school that I'm running for 4 days. He's like, when does it end? I'm like, Thursday. He's like, I'll be there on Thursday. Tell Nick and Haley I'll meet them then. And out of the blue, he just showed up. And
that's awesome. Were the girls fired up?
Yeah, mostly the parents too. That
sure.
Like every parent, and I feel bad because Keeso doesn't do much social media. He doesn't do many interviews. He's rarely taking pictures of people. He's like a very private guy, and I totally respect that. And I felt bad, but all the parents were like, "Can I just get a picture with her?" There was like more parents taking selfies with him than there were kids.
It's the ultimate parent show. My parents are in town right now. My dad parked on the couch. He's like, "Can you put on Shoresy?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad." I'll get it on for you.
That's so good. But yeah, it was awesome. It was just a nice way to cap off, a solid week. I think I've almost convinced Haley and her husband to become Canadian and Northern Ontarioites. They love it.
Well, they're deep in Ottawa now. I'm almost like forgetting how deeply American she is.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, they loved it up here. Sudbury represented well. So it was good. And then before the camp, the day I was actually leaving for my camp, we woke up to the sad news that my poor little girl, Tanky, had passed away. So the camp was a really good distraction for us. So we're going to miss my big girl. So Enzo, watch out, buddy. I'm coming in for some snuggles. That poor dog doesn't even know what's going to hit him.
Tanky was the best. And, everybody send their love to Tessa and the Fiore fam. We love you guys. And we love Tank. She was the best. So we're thinking of you guys. If it makes you feel even the slightest bit better, I came on this podcast and talked about what a good little puppy I have last week and how he'd only wrecked one thing, and it was my Mac charger. He took a second victim this week.
Oh no!
And he had assistance from the cat. So Liam's, I don't even know how to tell you this. My orange cat Winnie and Enzo are like partners in crime. Like they wrestle, they run, they love one another. This was the most conniving thing I've ever seen two tiny creatures do. And I didn't see it, but I know what happened because Winnie does this. Liam's Louis Vuitton wallet is sitting on the counter Like, there's a little table walking into my condo, and that's where we toss our keys and our wallets and stuff like that. Winnie sits up there. She chills. She says hi. That's where she waits for us to come home, and we give her a little pet when she walks in, and then we put our wallet and our keys down. Doesn't she take her little orange mitten and knock, right onto the ground? The Louis one, too. There's a couple miscellaneous items sitting around there, all of which cost under $40 probably. But she picked the Louis wallet and she swatted it onto the ground, and her
There's
little
Enzo.
buddy Enzo hopped in for a delicious Italian leather treat. And
Did he have at it bad? Was it bad?
Oh, yeah, it's bad. It's still usable. It's the top
Okay.
part, like the seam along the top that's chewed. Only one credit card was a victim. There wasn't any, like, he doesn't have to get new cards or anything. We caught it pretty fast, but Enzo has expensive taste, which is not great.
Winnie,
Yeah.
you're in for it, man. Now
Winnie.
they're starting to plot and plan. That's where my real
They're a
kids are at.
tandem.
So look at us.
Yeah.
You're just now trying to survive with your fur babies, and here I am with real little humans that are creating up some pretty mystic plans.
I know. We're bringing these animals into our house. I get a look at the next gen too this week, and on the men's side of things, though, I go to Edmonton for the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. I always like that tournament. Yeah, I haven't seen Gavin McKenna play in person yet, so I'm honestly stoked to see that kid go. And in talking like about him and learning about him over the past couple weeks, because I haven't gotten to cover him yet, I didn't realize that him and Chloe Primerano skate together quite a bit, and like they train together. Cool. Yeah, they're buddies. So I thought that was kind of cool that like the next one kind of dubbed in men's and women's hockey training together quite a bit in the summer.
Did you reach out to her and just be like, hey, you want to come on and chat a little bit? Give me some insight on this guy. I'm leaving on Saturday.
Yeah, honestly, I
reach out to her. I'm sure she'd give you some cool stories.
Yeah, I'd like to know what those two get up to. They're both Quench partners now. Both signed big tickets. Imagine being 14 years old and signing 15, 16, like signing a deal like that. So it's cool to see these kids come up. But pumped for Edmonton next week. If you guys have any Edmonton food recommendations, I feel like I haven't given that city enough of a shake. I know, Tessa, and we complained the whole time. Like, let's be real about that summer in Edmonton. Me and Tessa were there for the Summer World Juniors. It was still like kind of COVID. I think we still had to wear masks for interviews at that point, didn't we?
I don't know. Did I?
I don't know. I did earlier that summer at the Memorial Cup, actually. But by the time World Juniors and Women's Worlds came around, we didn't have to anymore. But it was just like that weird, not COVID, current COVID in Edmonton in the middle of summer. It was a weird one. So I'm going to Edmonton, and I'm looking for some good food and good vibes. So let me know where I should go.
That was Annie's first World Juniors. Annie and Theo.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I forgot sitting in that bar with your parents. And what's that bar called? The one right across from the hotel we stayed at?
Oh yeah, Sherlock Holmes, is it?
Yes.
Is it Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes got a lot of our. Yeah, that was totally it.
We gave them our money.
They had good patronage from us that week. We were loyal customers. Okay, so I'll probably just be back at Sherlock Holmes. And I remember there being a good smoothie place too. I don't.
Yeah,
I was down there.
If you walked
KB and Co.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. So I'll keep myself entertained in Edmonton and be back next week. And then we get to go on a little trip, Tess. We almost get to go on our Montreal trip with CCM. So much fun stuff happening there. Like, I cannot wait for the Montreal content with CCM.
It'll be good. I'm excited. I'm stoked. Hopefully my voice is back by then.
It won't be. It's going to be fabulous. Get a little relaxed time this weekend. I can't wait for you. And with that, let's get to our one story this week that we have, Tess, in the PWHL. Everybody's chilling. We haven't talked Olympics at all, which obviously has everybody's attention right now.
The best.
Shout out to the Canadian women's soccer team. I feel like we have to mention that on the podcast. Poulin put out a really good statement about them and what they're battling through. Like, those girls are so tough.
You know what, though? It is exactly what they needed. Like, I felt like they were coming into this. People were like, well, we'll give them a bit of a shot. And then all of a sudden, everything plays out as it does. They get caught with the stupid drone and everyone gets suspended and they get docked 6 points. And it was kind of like a big FU moment. Like, you want to do that? Just like Diana Matheson said. I have goosebumps because I remember reading Diana Matheson's statement. Oh, yeah. She was like, take 6 points. Cool. Let's go get 9. And I was like, yo, like, that was Diana, a past player, leading outside of the locker room. Don't think every single one of them didn't see that. And that comment for sure resonated with them as much as it resonated with me. Like, I got emotional about that. And I was like, let's go. And I was like, I'm not even in that locker room. I don't even play for the Canadian national soccer team. But I was
Yeah.
like, we're going to do it. And then, like, every interview after that, and every game, it was just like, they've got this big FU mentality now. And it's like, keep doing it. Like, this is going to go down in history as the coolest, run to the gold medal. And I'm convinced they're going to pull this off just because of the way things are lining up. And, the fire, like I said, that they've got lit now. Like, don't mess with us. Like, period. We are the defending champs and you want to pull this? Like, come on. Anyways, I love it. I love these ladies. I love the Summer Olympics. I'm such an Olympic junkie, Julia. I cannot get enough of the Summer Olympics. I love Winter Olympics, but like the decathlon, it started this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
It's
that
crazy,
wild.
the athletic accomplishments. You seeing the people like puke in the middle of the triathlon and just continue on their way.
Wild.
One thing about me is once I puke, I'm going home. Like, if you see me puke, know that I'll be leaving. I'll be going home and I'll be having a snack and a drink and a blanket and I'll be going home. Once I puke once, it's over.
See, it depends how I'm at, but sometimes I'm a barf and rally.
You're a puke and rally kind of girl.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you do feel way better after.
And that's it. And usually it's that, or it's just like FOMO, like I can pull it together. There's still so much fun to be had.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but not like in an athletic endeavor situation. Like when you puke in those situations, it's like, well, that's my cue to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. The one guy barfed, he said 10 times.
That's so insane, dude. I haven't puked 10 times in the last 5 years. I don't puke very much and I don't like to.
Yeah.
I can imagine puking 10 times in a day.
No, once you hit 30, you don't barf much often, I feel like, unless you've got a bad run of the flu bug. But anyways.
Yeah. So the rugby team, the Canadian women's rugby team, so good.
Yes.
Swimming, Summer McIntosh. I feel like the whole country's been captivated by what she's been doing. So the Canadian women are just showing up and showing out this summer. So shout out to them. Well, we sit here and talk about ice sports, where there's one bit of news this week. PWHL Toronto added Jim Midgley to their bench, and he's obviously a long time Halifax Mooseheads guy. He's done 2 separate stints as their head coach. Had a good year last year as their head coach. Long run as their assistant coach as well, and then spent time behind the New York Rangers bench in the NHL as an assistant coach. So a whole wealth of knowledge that he's bringing to PWHL Toronto, in addition to, I think he was part of that part of the Calgary bubble team, right?
Yeah, he was. And that's right when he left for New York. It was right after that he had announced that he was taking off and he wouldn't be continuing with the women. And they were a little bit, I don't want to say butthurt. They were they were happy for him, but they were like, yo, we just won. We're going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
What are you why would you do that to us, kind of thing? Because I felt like they felt like they had a really good nucleus and they were locked up in their locker room and everyone was comfortable with everybody, and it was kind of like, now you got to bring in a new face kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? When they were already so dialed, they had already all gone through the COVID stuff together. It all worked out. Regardless, this to me is just such a Gina Kingsbury and a Troy Ryan move, and I don't mean that in a bad way or a good way. It's just the way they run things. It's, who are we familiar with? What do we know? It's like they're comfortable in having success and getting what they know, and that's basically how they drafted their team, right?
Yeah.
That's how they build the roster. That's how, that's why Gina and Troy are working together. They like what they like and they know what they know, and they like to go into those situations together. And obviously he's got a lot to offer. That's fantastic. A ton of experience. Works well with the ladies already. Some of them already know him. And it's like, come on in, bring that wealth of knowledge here. Let's go get a Walter Cup.
Yeah. So looking forward to seeing him behind the bench, and we'll see if we see any more movement around the PWHL this week. But it seems like half the PWHL is in Paris enjoying the Olympics. I saw Spooner there. I saw Nursey there. I saw Jill Sonia there this morning with pretending to be lost. Honestly, that TikTok made me laugh a lot. Yeah. So that was good content. So enjoy the Summer Olympics. And we have something else for you to enjoy as well. One of the legends of Canadian hockey, someone who was kind of a part of a couple golden eras of Canadian hockey, I would say, Tessa.
Yeah, she is by far one of my most favorite teammates that I played with. I don't know if I say this about everybody that comes on, but Gapsy is what I call her. She is honestly one of the most funny, caring, endearing people. And I was so stoked when she actually found the time to be able to come on because she is busy.
Yeah, she's got so much going on, and she has like such a wealth of good stories to tell. So we were lucky
Oh,
to get a
yeah.
minute with the one and only. This is Gillian Apps on Jocks and Jills. Okay, guys, we are very lucky and excited to welcome another legend of the game here on the Jocks and Jills podcast. We have a multiple-time gold medalist in pretty much everywhere you could win one in women's hockey. It's the pride of Unionville, Ontario. Gillian Apps, everybody. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, you guys. I am a big fan of the podcast, so happy to be chatting with you guys today.
I'm so pumped you're here.
Okay, let's start like this, because I know in women's hockey there was a long era where it was like faux pas to talk about women's hockey players' hockey families, because I don't know, that was kind of the only conversation about them at some point. So we went almost all the way away from talking about hockey families, but we can't talk to you without starting with like what it was like to grow up with your last name in Toronto, if you were always kind of destined to be on the ice, and how early you were on ice.
Yeah, I don't think I really realized growing up that my dad had played in the NHL. He didn't really talk about it that much. It was
Really?
only when we sort of interacted with hockey fans, people were really excited to see him or, hear stories about my grandpa. But yeah, I have an older brother, older sister. My brother played hockey, my sister played ringette. So grew up watching them, sort of like a little rink rat, played myself. And really, I wanted to be exactly like my brother and sister. So my brother played in the NCAA. That's what I wanted to do. I just, saw the type of athletes they were and wanted to be exactly like them. So had great role models in them, and kind of feel like I still do to this day. So
At what point did Amy, so she was ringette, at what point did soccer take off for her? And were you kind of like, oh man, maybe I'm going to be a soccer player now?
I feel like she missed the boat on hockey and still is sour about it. But she switched to soccer when she was in high school and just fell in love with it. So that was her path. But I played ringette until there was a girls hockey team in my town, and then switched to hockey. But yeah, she was just, we call her the black sheep. She played soccer and she's small, and Amy Pesta. So but yeah, she still was a great athlete to look up to.
Apsy and we call our sisters the little bigs because they're much littler than we are, but they're the big sisters. And they're like kind of very similar. Except my sister's not really an athlete, but that's okay. She's a mathlete. My sister's smarter than anyone I've ever met. So
I feel like that's always the case. Like my little sister is way taller than me as well. It's because we had to come out first. There were mistakes made. We were underdeveloped. I think that's what always happens with the eldest, unfortunately. You get it right the second time. The athletes are always the second ones, I feel like.
Yeah.
So you wore number 10. Yeah, exactly. You get so many tries to get it right, and eventually you get your little athlete through your third or fourth try.
There you go, Anne.
So you wore number 10.
Yes.
Obviously the number in your family. Did your siblings wear that number as well? And was that number bestowed onto you, or did you decide you wanted to wear number 10 when it was an option?
No, my brother was 7, my sister was 8, and it really is my first time making the national team. Sherry Piper and I made it at the same time, and they said these are the numbers that are available, and I was like, ooh, 7's available. That's cool. I could be like my brother. Piper picked 7, so I was like, I'll take 10. And that's sort of how it works. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like your brother was 7, your sister was 8, and you were just bad at counting. So you're like 7, 8, 10.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But she went to Dartmouth, so that wasn't the case. Speaking of, why Dartmouth? Obviously you said you wanted to go the NCAA route, but I guess it kind of makes sense to me. I've never met anyone that has read more books than Gillian Apps. And it got to a point where I was like, man, I should read more after playing with Appsy. And what was it? Catch 22. I think I caught you on 2 or 3 different road trip tournaments and you were reading the book. I'm like, oh, maybe she didn't finish it the last time. I was like, you reading that still? And you're like, no, again. And I was like, Who the hell reads a book twice?
Cindy, you know what? I knew I was going to be set up on this podcast, which is this is going south. Now, you know what? There's not as much reading in my life anymore with my kids.
Well, yeah, I
My
understand
time
why.
is
Free hit.
it's a little crazy. Exactly. Why Dartmouth? So I think, honestly, like I said, my brother went to Princeton. He's 7 years older than me, so I was able to sort of watch him play there, his experience as a student athlete. And I was like, that is awesome. That's what I want to do. And so when it came time to decide, I just went and looked at the schools and tried to figure out like where can I see myself going to school, what feels right. At the time, the head coach at Dartmouth was Judy Oberton, who is a very good friend of mine still to this day, and she was amazing. And I think like such a testament to what Dartmouth hockey used to be, where there were so many great players that went to that program. And I just went to Hanover and I was like, this is where I'm going. Tess, I'm sure you had the exact same feeling when you were in Ohio. And it's just like, this is where I want to play. This is where I want to go to school. And this is where I want to be for the next 4 years. So had the time of my life, loved it. So much so went back, 15 years later to do my master's, and still like such a great place and such a special place in my heart.
Where else were you considering?
I was considering Princeton and Harvard, both good. The Princeton program at the time wasn't as good as it is now. Like such a testament to Karamori and where that program has come. But I think people just assumed that I was probably going to go to Princeton because my brother had gone there, my dad had gone there, and I loved it. But I just felt at home at Dartmouth. And that was, still to this day, what I tell young players who are looking to decide where they want to go to school is like, go visit, see what it's like, and figure out what works for you.
So your brother went to Princeton, and then his wife went to Harvard. That's right, because I remember I was at some work invited me to go. Like, hey, can some of you show up to this event? It's a Bell Media thing, and so myself and Natasha go, and we're like, cool. So I'm like introducing myself to some people, and they're like, Harvard, class of whatever, and I'm like, Ohio State, class of 07, and then I'm like, everyone was Harvard, and then I was like getting in some conversations that I had no idea what was going on, and then Apsy's brother swooped in and saved me. He's like, hey, Tess. I'm like, oh my God, you're here.
Hey, I remember that. I remember you sent me a picture in between my brother and his wife. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy, what a power couple. My goodness.
Yeah. So yeah.
Quite a few of those in your family, I feel like, the power couples.
Say.
I didn't realize that you were kind of a low-key prankster in the room in a quiet way. Tess has told me about a couple. Did you have like a go-to prank you'd like to pull, or were you always mixing it up?
Oh my gosh, this is in my, my younger days. I don't know. I just, I don't think I had a go-to plan, but I was always sort of looking for one. I would say Tess is like biting her tongue right now. I'm scared of what she's gonna say.
No,
some went really well, some did not go well, and yes, but tell me.
The one that I always think of you, and it's not really a prank, it's just you being you, is like in line and a drill's going and someone's in front of you and you just put your stick right in the front of their ankle. So when they go to stride, they immediately bail it and they're a drill breaker and they're fined. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. But you know what? That would be something that I would do a lot until like I realized it was actually quite disruptive to the practice. I don't know if it was like Mel or a coach at the time. It was like, stop doing that. So yeah, then I like tested it in the dressing room versus like right in the middle of practice.
But you were like a bag of onions kind of prankster, huh? Who did you lay the bag of onions on?
Oh, that was Ruda. That was Nicole Ruda. So she friend of the podcast, exactly. She was an easy target in college. She was just like very innocent and naive, and obviously one of my best friends. She was just I think I set like an old to-go container that everyone had put like onions in under the seat of her car, and it was there for like 2 weeks, and she couldn't figure out like what was going on with her car, and it's just it was bad.
I would never think to do that. Like, you don't think a bag of onions would, like, I would never think of that.
Gross.
Yeah,
Is
gross.
it like red onions though? Because red onions to me smell like dirty armpits that don't have deodorant on. They're so gross.
I don't really know the specifics of the onions, but I'm sure they didn't smell good. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So Laura Stacy told us about some off-season team building, like pretty intense stuff that went down at Dartmouth preseason when they did some like wilderness explorer type of team building. Did you experience anything similar preseason when you went there?
no, I think I like selling that era where it was like you didn't really have to warm up for games and you didn't really have to cool down. It was just
Nice.
like we were just starting that. So like preseason was kind of like, oh, can you like run around the track? Great. Can you do a chin up? Great. There wasn't even really fitness testing. I honestly don't think it's aging myself, but we were certainly doing it with the national team at the time. But those of us on the national team were like, Dartmouth hasn't figured it out yet. Like we don't have to do this stuff. And we would just like
Nice.
shower. We would just like shower after the game and like go out. Like we were done. It's Saturday night and well, no, I think Stace got the real sort of living in the woods experience. I heard some stories
Yeah.
about that, but no, we didn't have to do it.
Pushing cars up hills, they were crazy. I got to go back to the pranking though, because I know that your teammates got you back a little bit one time at the ECAC championship banquet, and I know for a fact that you do not like mayonnaise, but apparently your hatred is equal to that of tartar sauce. Do you remember when they got you back with your dessert?
Yeah, like it is giving you these stories. I'm gonna have to.
Tell that people.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think that part of being a prankster is being able to take it as well. So people have gotten me good, and I will give them good credit for that. So yes, the banquet was like a vanilla dessert or something like that, and they kept the top. I was like in a martini glass. They kept the top and just like filled the bottom with with like mayonnaise and tartar sauce or whatever it was. It was just like disgusting combination of yuck. And I just like right in there and all the ones in all, of course, looking at me and I was I was like, all right, you guys got it. Good.
Someone was
But
talking, Apsy's gagging. She was like, she was dry heaving. We didn't think she was going to be able to put it down. Our coach was looking at us all ticked off, and she put it down. You actually swallowed it?
I did. Yeah. I
They
mean,
said it was
Extremely
like a
brave.
custard-filled thing, and they scooped out all the custard and put all tartar and mayo in, and then topped it off with the vanilla topping. And they're like, they didn't expect her to take as big of a bite that she did, but she went in for like the whole enchilada. And I was like, oh, that's disgusting. I would barf.
yeah. Yeah.
Good for you for holding it down, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a long time ago. I haven't thought about that in a long time, but
You're welcome for
yeah,
bringing it up.
I don't I go out in my day, you know? I don't I don't I don't
Well, the
always
thing
make
about
pranks with
pranking
other
is like once you get it back like that, you're like, man, I don't know if I want this smoke anymore. Once you eat the
I
tartar
know.
sauce
Well,
covered
I
in
know.
vanilla.
now she's got 3 young kids that she could prank. Tell me you're a mom that pulls stuff on your kids.
You know, no, not really. But
Okay.
between Megan and I, yes, I would be the one, and I'm definitely the mom that probably pushes things a little too far. You know,
Right.
like where, like they start crying, and so like, why did you do that? You know, so yeah,
'Cause
which
I
doesn't
had
mean
to.
they got to grow up a little bit, but yeah, I'll teach them the ways.
Yeah. One parent like that needs to be like that in the dynamic, I think, just
Yes,
to prepare your children for real life.
yeah,
Getting them ready for what's
exactly.
coming in their teens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. My dad convinced me one time when I was a kid that he bought this like horse trailer for tools, and he had me going so bad that there was a horse in the trailer, and I just knew not to believe him. And he's like, "No, go out there. The horse is hungry. It needs to be fed." There was no horse in the trailer. Like I was a young child, very impressionable at the time. I'll never forget that. Okay, let's talk about your hockey experience and not my childhood trauma thinking I had a horse. Going back to your first time at Worlds, can you talk about the first time you made the national team and what it was like kind of going to your first Hockey Canada experience?
Yeah, I think my first experience was being centralized in before the 2002 Olympics. So that was like brand new to me. I hadn't been with a national team and um it was amazing. I didn't make it and it was really difficult, as Tessa knows, like go through a centralization process and then get cut and sort of then feel like your dream and what you've been looking for is over. And I think for me, I was young and was able to sort of reframe my thinking. And I think made the national team in 2003. That World was canceled. So my first World Championships was really 04 in Halifax, which was, I think, if you could write a script to have your first World Championships be at an event in Canada, it's pretty amazing. It's we all know like Canadian fans come to support. It was just an incredible experience. My family was there, I had some friends there, and just amazing to be able to represent Canada and wear that Team Canada jersey that I've been working so hard and dreamed of wearing.
And like the East Coast, this is no knock on any other part of Canada. Probably like Saskatchewan can rival it, but like the East Coast shows up and shows out for those tournaments. Remember our Four Nations Cup in Newfoundland?
Yeah.
After we went out on St. George, and I asked them for a couple shots, and all of a sudden the trophy disappeared. I didn't know where it went, and they came back and they'd filled it all the way up with the shot that I had ordered. I was like, oh my God, they're like, for free. I was like, I love this place.
I know. Yeah, exactly. East Coast is amazing. And yeah, exactly what you just said.
Always a good time.
Always a good time, and Halifax showed up. So
you were actually, I don't know if you remember this, but my first under 22 tryout, when they announced the team or made the team, and then we went on to play a couple games against the Americans, you were actually the one that presented me my jersey. And I thought it was so cool, man, because like you said, you had just played in your first Worlds and you got like 4 goals as a rookie, which to me is a lot. Like, and to be honest, like we were pals. I thought you were really cool, but like in my head, I'm like, this is a bona fide star and her last name is Apps, and like I got my jersey from her. So for you, was there ever a moment when it was like surreal? Like, did you feel like a superstar at that moment when you were handing me my jersey? Because you were a big name coming up, and that's a pretty good showing at your first Worlds.
I remember handing you your jersey. No, I remember actually being, I think the thing for me was like being able to play with all these people that I had either played against or heard of, or I'm like, wow, like we are a true representation across the entire country, and this is really cool. And on the senior national team, it's like people that have been playing, like you, Cassie Campbell, Haley Wichenheiser, Jana Hefford, like Vicky Sunahara. I can't leave Vicky out, but they were people who I'm like, wow, I watch you guys play. I watch you guys play in Nagano and Salt Lake, and it's there's just been some amazing athletes that has come through the Hockey Canada program. So I love being able to sort of play in the era where we had the under 22s team, and there was a few of us that were able to play on both at the same time, and I think it was a great experience.
I love that.
So that first centralization, did you buy? I've heard that your cars were kind of iconic in Calgary when you would go to centralize. Can you walk me through some of your favorite rides in Calgary? Like, what were they like?
Okay. So first of all, I just have to set the story straight. Yes.
I just need to say one thing first before we talk about the cars. And this, Apsy, I'm not making fun of you. Well, I am, but like, I mean this in the nicest way. And you can ask anybody on the team. Apsy is a mediocre driver, not a great driver. Now, the cars she's about to talk about, throw these into the mix. And like, I'm pretty sure there was even one time when you had like a fracture in your ankle and you decided to drive with your left foot. And it's like, okay. Anyways, I have my favorite car of all the cars you have purchased during centralization, but go on about some of the best that you've ever come across. I even started this.
No, I was just gonna set the story straight that like I'm not a car person. I think like I was wrongfully labeled in my youth as someone who loved cars or like to lecture cars. Like one of our car skating coaches, I think every time I saw him, he's like, "Ooh, what are you driving now?" I'm like, the same like Jetta think car I've had. But what happens is like when we all move to Calgary to centralize, we need to figure out like what their vehicle going to be in. So the first year, there were like 5 of us, the youngest players on the team, all lived together. We didn't have a car, so we decided like we'll just have rollerblades. That's how we'll get from our house to the rink and from our house to the grocery store, and that was it. So no car. And then what Seth is talking about is, so Gillian and I went to a undisclosed location because I had found this car. And when we got there, it was like $500 cash. I was like, this is great. We can use it for the 6 months out here, and then we'll get rid of it. We went. It was like a Ford Bronco, and the whole like windshield was smashed with a bat. And we realized, well, we can't get theft. And so there was a like 19, I don't know what, 70, like Lincoln Continental right beside it. And the guy was like, we can have that. And so I realized, does it work? Yeah. So that was my car for the Central Beer. And it was so big. Like, Tessa, do you remember how long it was? I only remember once after practice, like we were just terrible. Mel was like, get off the ice. We're all in the locker room. And she was upset with our team to begin with, and then had like a list of like housekeeping things she was going through. And then she's like, "And park in the parking spots, and actually go park your car in two." And I don't know what to do. Like, this thing is so long, I couldn't park it anywhere. But it became a team favorite, this car. And the reason why it's still talked about is because we went to Finland on the trip, and I had it parked outside of Gillian Ferrari's house, which is safe space to park your car. And when I got back, I had a voicemail that my car had been crushed. They had towed it, and they crushed it, and it's gone. Like, car gone. We went to the impound lot, and there it was. It was like the size of like a little square.
How could they do such a thing?
It was so
Like,
sad.
how is that allowed?
You know, Julie, it's a mystery to this day. I don't know. It had like I had running shoes, jerseys. I was like, what? All my stuff was in there. Did you even take it out of the car? They're like, nope, it was gone. So yeah.
We had this thing where you could like buy jerseys at cost, and we would get them all signed so that after, you could just dish them out to sponsors or donate them to events and whatnot. And you had like 12 jerseys.
Yeah.
No, crushed into the size of a ball, or do you think they were just handing them out around the car dealership?
I'm sure.
They for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Jerks.
They for sure.
That car deserved a proper funeral. So were there other cars, or was it just that legendary car and the story has evolved?
Just wait.
Yeah.
Then after that,
no.
Car.
So then, honestly, this is why I got labeled as the car person. So then we were in a bind. We had no car, and couldn't use rollerblades because we lived too far. So Shannon's Avido followed. My brother's selling his car. Great. Price was right. Sight unseen. Well, I went to pick it up. First of all, it was standard, which I didn't drive. And it was white and it had been dropped. So it was like a low riding car that had like life along the bottom. And why was a custom paint job? It was like, oh my God, this is going to be, I'm never going to live this down anyway. So, yeah.
She must have known that's what it looked like. She wanted to set you up with a second pimp car.
I think so. 100%.
Abs, you belonged in Fast and you belonged in Fast and the Furious. And wasn't it like the first day you drove it to the rink, we were all making fun of you, and then there was a snowstorm, and because it was lowered so much and the roads weren't plowed, you got stuck, and Cassie had to go pick you up on the side of the road.
First day? Yeah. How did you even learn to drive it fast? Like, that's pretty impressive.
You know what? Everyone loves the cars. That's yeah. I had a few driving lessons. Some teammates taught me how to do it, and some people got to experience, getting stalled, push starts, all the stuff. Jana experienced a lot of push starts in our dress clothes. So we did it that one. It made for some good stories. But no, now I do not into vintage. I'm not a vintage car collector.
The best part, Julia, is when they got the red car, Ferrari had texted me. I lived with Catherine Ward, and we lived like in a row of townhouses, like a townhouse community. And Ferrari's like, "We're coming to see ya." We're like, "Ooh, can't wait to see the new ride." And like all of a sudden we see this Cruella and DeVille, like we're waiting to see them, and it was like 3 seconds of just the trunk turning the corner before they come in. Ferrari's hanging out the window. We were like, "Oh my God, this is something." And I took a picture of it, like back on an old flip phone. I still have that picture. We got to post it. It's so good and epic. That car will forever go down in history. And we're so mad at the city of Calgary for crushing it. You owe us a 74 Lincoln.
For
right there.
real.
But
Yeah.
honestly, Julia, it's like those moments and those things just follow Absy. Like you can talk to any teammate and it's like there's never a moment that isn't funny. And I don't know, Absy, if you remember this, but we had it might have been Four Nations in Lake Placid. And so
Okay.
the week before it, we were doing our training camp in Montreal, and Four Nations Cup always happens beginning in November, or did always happen beginning in November. And so we trained in Montreal, and we're all like, as a team builder, we should do like a Halloween party. We'll all get dressed up and we'll go out, and the best costume wins. I don't even think we won anything because we were clearly the best costume, regardless. So we all decide we're going to dress up and go to the strip club. So Pounder, the male strip club. So Pounder dresses up as a nun or a priest. I can't remember. Augusta was the Burger King guy. I remember I showed up in the room and I'm laughing at everyone and I'm like, who's the Burger King person? Like I had no idea. And it took me forever to head count. I'm like, okay, who are the lines? Who am I missing? And it's like, oh, my best friend, Augusta. Like, what an idiot. Apsy and I were like, let's do a joint costume. What should we be? And we decided that we were going to be a pair of boobs. And
nice.
How'd you do it? Dude, we had Camelbacks that had Bailey's in it. And we created this like circular thing around us. Our equipment manager, Robin McDonald, helped us. Remember, he helped us sew them together.
Yes, he did. This was like probably the best Halloween costume I've seen. Remember, we were trying to get in the van and we were laying on our back, like we couldn't even get in. We were like full of balloons.
Were you guys connected?
No, we were just a pair of boobs, and we had we had a Camelback on with Bailey's, so that if someone wanted to take a drink from our boob, they would get a shot of Bailey's. It was genius. Okay,
that's awesome.
Genius. And we were going to a male strip club. Like that, you couldn't have done it any better. Anyways, I feel like there are moments like that, Apsy, that just follow you around. Where if you're ever on a team with you, it's always a good time. Do you have like a favorite moment like that sticks out to you from your playing time? Because I feel like you played across a bunch of really good generations of hockey players. You mentioned Vicky Sanahara, and then I feel like that gen retired and came the new group, and you were kind of a little bit of a leader in that sense of the Fun Brigade.
Honestly, I have so many good memories. I think it's just like, no surprise, but all the time that we all spend together, and it's the ups and the downs and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think, something that always sticks out to me is in 06, Vicky Sanahara, Jana Hefford, Gillian Apps, and I lived together. And, this is leading up to the Olympics. We all had made the team. And I think it was, late December. And Vicky had been complaining about this noise in her room. And we're like, Vic, you're fine. Yeah. And so then she's like, no, you guys, there's something in my room. So it turns out it was not only a mouse in her room, but there's a mouse had made a nest in her box spring. And just it was just, and so then we said so badly because we were just like, Vic, we didn't believe you, actually, because, Vic can tell stories. So anyway, it turned that we ended up flipping her box spring. And so for the month of January, Vicky slept in my room with me. And we would just go to bed at night laughing so hard to the point Heffern was beside us and she'd like, guys, be quiet. And we would just be in my room, just giggling. And I think about stuff like that, where it's just so many laughs and so many, moments that are not even about hockey. It's just about being able to spend so much time with, as you know, just amazing people and funny people. It's just, we had a lot of good jokes. So
I remember you guys talking about your bedtime routine, how you used to light a candle and you would have quiet time and reading time. This is ridiculous. But that mouse was actually, I will say, booted out of the house. But you guys got rid of that mouse in a pretty unique way. Do you remember? Do you remember how you guys did it? Who had hockey stick?
Yeah, we all did. It was instead of a penalty kill, we opened the door and we just shimmied it with our sticks. And I think it was Vicky that ultimately did a killer backhand, and the mouse just went flying. And we looked at her, and then we just shut the door. We're like, we're sticked.
Did she go back to have rat children or anything like that? That you guys had to get multiple? There was just one culprit. That you saw.
I don't know. We could have just shut off her room, and that was it. That was the end of it. Yeah.
Hilarious.
No,
Oh,
but yeah,
Becky. I love that.
yeah,
That is so good.
Another good
yeah.
Apsy story, and it's like a moment where these things just happened to her. Was I forget what you were sick with? Do you remember when you almost died from taking a medication that you were allergic to, and you just kept taking it?
Yes,
What was
yes, I
the initial
remember.
sickness? We laugh about this story all the
I
time,
know.
Julia, because
No,
Apsy was like, you could tell something was really bad happening to her. She couldn't eat. The only thing you could eat was what was it, like a strawberry frappuccino from Starbucks, and you just like would suck
That's
a
a
little.
good diet.
She had like, dude, her lips were so swollen. She had sores everywhere. She was
it
like,
was like, yeah, it
Oh
was before
had a
man.
the
bed in her seat.
it was before the 2013 world, I think. So I had like a very bad like reaction to an antibiotic that I was taking for a sinus infection, and it was right before our pre-world camp. So I started to feel like, you know, I feel like I'm getting a cancer flu, which is kind of weird because I don't usually get like cancer flu. And I'm like, wait a minute, like something is up with my mouth. And fast forward like 3 or 4 days, and everyone between was like, whoa, every day. I'm like, God, I know. There's something like that's was
Thank
like,
you so much.
oh, yes.
That's always helpful, eh? When you got something going on with your face and everyone's telling you, like, thank you so much. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that was there when I left the house this morning.
yes. And
Julia,
so then,
you
like,
couldn't not say something, but
yeah,
like you were like, Abby,
what
what's
happened was
happening?
my lips like swelled. So people were like, "Whoa! Like, did you do something to your lips?" Like it literally looked like I had injections in my lip, and they swelled. And
Bad
then
one.
remember, and then it would pop, and it was like on my whole mouth was like a square scab, and it
Yeah.
was so real bad. Like
Yeah.
it was really bad. I was like I couldn't eat or drink for like 15 days, and they're like, you have to keep playing. And I remember having to get like suspenders for my hockey pants because I'm like my pants don't fit anymore. Like I
Yeah.
Oh
haven't
my
eaten in
gosh.
yeah.
She
And
I
did your
don't know
face
why. We
burn
were
when you were skating on the ice? Like when you have chapped lips on the ice, it's such a bad pain when
Oh,
it's
it
really
was
cold.
it
Julia.
was I hate that. It was like I can't
That's
even explain how bad
horrible.
it was. It
So
was like
yeah, your whole body hurt. Like you were just sore everywhere. Like she was achy. Like we there was like it was what was it? Heffy, Bonky, you, me, Gus, all at the back of the bus, Erwin, Wardo, and we would all wait for Apsy to get up and walk off the bus. And we were like, oh man, this poor girl. And then remember we were like, Apsy, don't play. Like, don't
yeah.
play. And you're like, I'm gonna
And I
play
couldn't
this
the doctor
game.
said I couldn't talk, but like can't talk. So I had to communicate to people on like a sticky note with a pen if I needed anything because I I literally couldn't talk. And these like blisters started to like pop up all over my body. So it ended up being like this like very serious medical allergy. Like I had to then wear like a Medicare for myself. And anyways, it's really it's really not even funny, but
Not
it
funny,
was
but it
bad.
is
And
bad.
these guys lived through it with me, and they got to see like the progression, and it was yeah,
Oh
it was
my God.
wild. But
This is the best and the worst part. So poor Apsy, we're like, oh man, poor Apsy. She's got to play. We're out there in the warm-ups, right? And so we're butterflying. Everyone's going around butterflying. People are taking shots, and some players are like out there ripping in the warm up. One of which was Sarah Viagur. And Ashley's just like
yeah,
lollygagging, going to turn down by the boards, and Sarah comes hucking through, whoop, loses an edge. Who does she slide and take out and smash into the boards? Apsy.
No.
We're
yeah,
like,
Of course.
oh no, she's for sure dead. Like, this is it. Apsy's done. Bring out
That's
the
the nail in the
stretcher.
yeah.
The poor girl, man. I'm so glad you survived to talk about that because it was actually scary for us too. I don't know if you feel like that.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was like it's all when I talk about it now in a setting like this, my mom was like, Jill, it's not a joke. And I'm like, no, mom, I know. But it is but at the time looking back, like, but isn't when it happened and we were all, on the road. We were like in Michigan and we went to Switzerland and now people are like, oh, remember Switzerland Worlds? It's like so nice. I'm like, I don't remember anything of it. It's just like thanks.
Those would be
But
terrible texts to be sending back to your parents, eh?
yeah. Yeah. But
Updating them.
anyways, it's all good.
Mm,
So
It's all good.
It's here to talk
yeah.
about. Her parents, by the way, are so awesome. Sil Apps Junior, right? Is your dad a junior or just a Sil Apps?
Yeah, no, he's a junior. Yeah, junior.
And then Anne, what a legend. If you ever
Yeah.
want to have a good glass of wine and a solid meal, go see Anne. The best part though is Apsy's family is like legit famous. And my dad's a hockey guy, knows all the hockey guys. And so the first year I was like, I even told my dad, I'm like, Gillian Apps gave me my jersey. And he was like, that's so sick. So my parents are coming to Lake Placid. Before the game, all the parents were like, oh, we're going to do a meetup at the bar. We'll have a couple drinks before we go to the game. My parents were all over that. So they go to the bar. My dad has a hard time hearing in loud places. And so my dad's going around introducing himself to everybody. And so he goes and my mom's like, oh, Doug, this is, and my mom, who is not the sports person, this is Anne and Sil Apps. My dad's like, hey, Phil, nice to meet you. Starts calling him Phil. It took like, I want to say, Apsy, was it like almost an entire like year, I felt like. And finally I'm like, are you calling him Phil? Dad, that is Sil Apps. And he was like, wow. How come no one told me? I'm like, why would we have to tell you this? So anyway, we called
it's the
my dad's
best.
favorite was Phil forever. For the entirety of my career, we all called him Phil.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Our parents had a good time together, and all the parents did. It was they usually had more fun than we did.
Totally.
I
And it
feel
was
you.
kind of
That's
like,
usually the way it goes.
yeah, we're watching them all have a grand old time and we're just training and eating healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you guys almost have your turn now, almost in your hockey moms
Oh, man.
era. Can you like let us in on life right now, Jill, and what your day-to-day looks like with your little fam?
Yeah, I mean, Tess and I are living a very similar life right now. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
How old
It's
are your
crazy.
kids?
So my son George is 4, Olivia's 2, and Sophie is 7 months. So they're
Nice.
yeah, they're little. They're little, but they're they're amazing and hard and all the things. And I think it's it's busy. Megan and I both are working full time. She just came back from leave, and we talked a lot about like what it's like to be working moms. And I have so much respect for just moms and parents and people who are doing it in it every day. And it's yeah, my kids are amazing and crazy, and like it's like my days are filled with working and then getting their things and answering questions and cleaning up and all the things, all the roles that
So many questions at bedtime.
yeah.
A lot of
So
whys.
brutal. So brutal.
So many
And honestly,
questions.
like it's the greatest thing having a friend like you have kids at the exact same time that I had mine, because the meme sending, like I'll send it to some of my other
Oh,
friends. They're like, oh yeah, I remember that. My kid's like 12 now, so it doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, you're missing it. Like it's really funny. But I'll absolutely sometimes will send me a meme one day and I'm like, this just happened to me like 1 second ago. This is so great. But I'll never
yes.
forget, Abby, when when you had Olivia and you were first time at home. George would have been like what, a year and a half, almost 2.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I messaged you. I'm like, yo, how are you doing? Like, how's it going? Because Meg was out of town for like a week or something, and it was day 1. And
Yeah.
you're like, I think it's going good. And you sent me a video. George
Yeah.
was sitting there screaming and crying in his chair, and Olivia's in her little bassinet freaking. I'm like, okay, good luck. Call me.
Yeah. Totally.
Misery
Just
loves
like
company,
what
right?
is going on?
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I think like probably, I don't know, when Sophie was like 2 weeks old, like Meg and I looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, like what did we do? Like this is chaos. There are so many things going on in this house, and like we have no control. So it's we're sort of out of we're out of the those like dark days of having like a really tiny infant, and dark and great and wonderful, all the things. But yeah, so now we just have 3, 3, 4 and under, and they're busy.
I wish
Yeah.
I don't even know if I still have the text when you told me that you were pregnant with a 3rd. And I actually I felt bad for my reaction at first, but I was just like, no, I have to be honest with her.
Yeah, and you're like, no.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. Well,
Yeah.
you can have a full line of forwards one day. You just got to get through the thick of it, I guess,
Yeah,
that you're in right
exactly.
now. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd imagine that you probably have a lot to do right now with that many kids and running a full-time job and a household and your role with Hockey Canada. So we appreciate you taking the time today. We love the chat, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was fun, and like I said, huge fan of the podcast. So happy to come on.
Thanks,
Thank
Capsy.
you.
Love you, bud.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Okay, that was great. I love going down memory lane with you and your old teammates, especially listening to that story about when her and Vicky were sharing a bedroom. I have to say that my roommate and I also went through that phase in university. There was nothing wrong with my room. I just get home. We
Yeah.
just end up to sleep. We just wanted to watch YouTube together and then go to sleep.
You guys just
When
needed a good.
I know. When I started dating Liam, it was actually kind of sad. She was like, "You're gonna sleep in there," and I'm like, "I guess.
Yeah,
I guess I will."
I have to.
And it's sleeping with a girlfriend. It's so nice. Like, you roll over to opposite sides of the bed. You both have your cold ice waters, your little face masks on.
Yep.
Such a nice. And like, you sleep with a man. There's sweat everywhere. Half of the bed is stained yellow. All of a sudden, you're like, "Why is that a thing? Why am I
Yeah,
washing
I
the sheets
know.
3 times a week? Where did that yellow
Why
stain come
is
from?
that?
What
Why
is it?
that?
What is the deal with boys and their yellow sweat?
Men sweat yellow.
It's so
What is
gross.
up with that? And you're kind of like, and the worst is when you go to put the sheet back on after you wash it or whatever, and like you didn't get the sweat stain out well enough. You're like, we need
You
new
can
sheets, but it ends
still
up on
see
your
where the mark
side, and you're
is.
like, yeah, brutal,
wasn't me.
gross. We need someone that's good in science. Tell us stuff about that, because we have no
Please.
idea what it is, but it's gnarly.
The straight women are suffering. Please help us.
Mhm.
Anyways, now that we've gone down that route, I don't know
Yeah,
even know
sure,
how.
Vicky
That was an
and Patsy
awesome.
didn't have that problem. Yo,
They
I
didn't
wish.
have sweat stains.
I swear to God, I wish I only have one picture of Gapsy's car. I wish I had a picture of every single one. I got to see if Zabby can pull up a couple more for me, but
We
it
need those
was like-
digital camera pics.
yeah. Oh yeah, I should fire up my old digital camera. Honestly, Apsy with her car thing and the fact that everyone thought she was a car person, that there's no falsity to that. That is very accurate. Our skate coach, Mark Power, used to come in and talk to her all the time about cars. She's like, and she would straight up say, "Mark, I don't know anything about cars. Like, I don't know. I just bought it because I thought it was funny." Never failed. The next
Why
time you
else
come
would
up
you
to do
buy
work with
anything?
us. Yeah.
Did you have like a legendary high school car? Let's end it on that.
My sister did. It was a silver Caprice Classic.
That's hot.
Massive boat. My sister is all of 5 feet tall. She'd basically like look through the steering wheel and the top of the dashboard because she was so little. That thing would fit like 12 to 16 people comfortably.
Yeah, that was the best. I had a couple. My first car was my dad's long box Duramax. Like, it was ridiculous. Extended cab, slip tank in the back. There'd be like
Yeah.
boys waiting after by it after school, and I'd come out and they'd be like, "This is yours," and I'd be like, "Yeah, move over, boys." And then I had this gold Jeep. I posted a picture of it the other day, and it had
Oh,
me so
sick.
nostalgic, Tessa. It was like a 2-door. Tiny little TJ, and I swear we would put 12 to 15 people in it, and it would look like a clown car. It would ride so low to the
I
ground.
love it.
Going out to parties and stuff. So
That's
everybody
so
needs
good.
a legendary car in their youth.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for listening to our summer ramblings and Tessa and I just being weird on the podcast here. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Thank you to CCM, our sponsor, our presenting sponsor. We'll see you guys next week in Montreal. We cannot wait for your 125th anniversary. It's going to be absolutely electric. So we'll talk to you guys next week and see y'all soon.